Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. Today is day 10 out of our 31-day series that I am recording in December 2025, a reading each day. But whenever you're finding this message, it's timeless, so I trust that there's a message here for you. And the purpose of these readings and this month-long series is to really align us with the path of our highest timeline, to recalibrate our energy and to get clear on what we need going forward. So as always, I'm starting with an oracle card and an astrology card, and then we'll go into the tarot. So the oracle card is reconciliation. My cat is confirming. It says, remember the source of love. A loving action is all you need to begin the process. Reach out with a simple first step. And so, of course, as I always say in my readings, your intuition is the guide. You should always be working inside out. So try not to receive external content or external predictions from tarot readings and then apply that internally, right? Whatever will resonate or whatever does resonate will resonate for you when you open your heart to the truth and to the guidance that you need for your most aligned timeline. So when I do these readings, I'm not intending to speak on external outcomes or anything I'm not going to declare that anything is going to happen in your external life, because it is a collective reading, and so you have to kind of take it how it applies to you. And so while, of course, this card could easily represent a reconciliation of somebody coming into your life or you reaching out, if that's not what you're being pulled to do at this time on your journey, then take the messages inward as they apply. And with this particular card of reconciliation, this is about, I'm hearing like reaching out to your inner divine masculine that you have neglected, or it could be vice versa, depending on how you identify and what your journey has been. Maybe you've been predominantly in this divine masculine energy. Maybe you identify as a divine feminine, and of course this is regardless of gender, but maybe you identify as a divine feminine, but you've been in excessive divine masculine energy for many years, and so you're being called to reconcile with your inner divine feminine. So And the important part about this card is that it says, remember the source of love. I mean, at its core, love should be in everything you do. And it begins with that self-love, and then it emanates and radiates outwards, because we want to be inward to outward directed. So reaching out with a simple first step. I'm also hearing like doing a ritual where you get into a meditative state and you really relax and you open yourself to all aspects of yourself. The feminine, the masculine, the parts that you've been prioritizing, the parts that you've been neglecting. Because when you open your heart and you remember that love is flowing through you at all times, and that you can always tap into that source energy that is made of love and abundance, then that's when you really start to balance those internal energies and integrate all parts of yourself in a healed and embodied way. And then for our astrology card, we have Pluto. So a huge transformation. Pluto can be about, old things resurfacing, but more so, which, is of course in line with reconciliation. But in general, Pluto is all about transformation and rebirth, and even like a karmic closures, or like ending of a soul contract. That doesn't mean like ending of a physical relationship necessarily, but perhaps like what the soul contract was intending to do and the karmic lessons it was bringing is coming to an end. that could be taken externally as well as within, like the ways that you've treated yourself, the patterns that you've had, the beliefs that you've had, maybe ending karmic cycles and overriding them with a completely new and reformed perspective. So if you've been experiencing over the past years karmic lessons such as self-love and self-worth, Pluto is here to transform them, like to transform the karmic cycle from a place of ending the old patterns and beginning the new patterns. And then, of course, if it's external, I mean, whether it's internal or external, like whether this is you reconciliating with yourself or with an external person, be it romantic or friendship or even family, and picking up on like someone that you may have been in separation with or had some kind of conflict with. It's like when you are opening yourself up to reconciliation, you are and allowing second chances and, you know, continuing to work at what needs to be resolved or let go of. Because of course it's not, the burden is not meant to be on you. This is meant to be just you recognizing what lesson needs to be learned and what needs to be released. Like what I'm saying is like a reconciliation doesn't have to consist of trying to resolve like a relationship or a conflict. Sometimes it can be a gesture of closure and releasing the burdens and really truly letting go of the past or letting go of the disputes or the disagreements. So when we do this, we are able to really repair those bonds. Again, whether it ends in, whether it's like a permanent reconciliation or just a gesture of closure, and whether it's external or internal, whether it's with somebody external or with yourself, you are able to repair bonds and heal these and, you know, overcome and close out these lessons. And that takes a deep emotional shift. And as I always say, like inside out. So you're showing up to this reconciliation. You know, when the reconciliation card says to reach out with a simple first step, whether you're reaching out or they are, or again, whether it's external or internal, I feel like I have to keep saying that because I don't want this to be like, you know, everyone who's listening to this needs to go reach out to somebody. But when you are able to experience this reconciliation, it is only able to be completed when you've undergone that deep emotional shift within yourself. Because then you're able to show up differently, again, either with yourself or with others. So Pluto here is requiring deep inner work and shifts from you. And not just requiring it of you, but Pluto is showing up to confirm to you that this is where you're at and you're on this path and you're doing it. So I'm going to read the passage about Pluto. It says, Pluto is associated with the Roman god Pluto, who ruled the underworld. Small Pluto carries a lot of important human experiences, nothing less than life, death, rebirth, and sex. Tied in with these ideas are issues of power and control, as well as finding personal freedom from confining mindsets. Yeah, that's a huge one. I mean, the mindsets, the perspectives that you navigate through life with, the feelings that you feel like just by habit, just as part of your innate nature, those are being transformed and healed. Because that's what's going to ultimately dictate your reality, as we say so much on this channel. So let's pull some tarot cards. We have the Three of Cups, which we also got previously, like a few readings ago. The Emperor and the Queen of Swords. Okay, so yeah, I mean, when I talk about shifting our internal state, you know, shifting our beliefs, our thought patterns, you know, transforming or closing out those karmic cycles. This is about embodying more joy. And that's what the Three of Cups is all about. And I mean, the Three of Cups also has a major theme of friendship and community. And so, again, whether this is a reconciliation externally, or even if the reconciliation is something that you're working on with yourself, that's what's going to allow you to magnetize and attract the community that you do desire, that is aligned with you. You know, it's that emotional support that you need. It's like a spiritual support network. And so the Three of Cups could be, again, a reunion or a reconnection with someone in a joyful way, you know, coming back together with somebody after having been separated. But it's also just celebration. I mean, you may be just, I was going to say you may be celebrating, but I'm also hearing Spirit is saying to make sure that you celebrate. Like, don't forget to celebrate your wins and your progress and the transformations that you've endured. Because, and to really lean into that ease and warmth and softness of this new emotional world that you are carrying now. So there's a really natural sense of harmony with this Three of Cups card. Again, whether it's with yourself or with somebody externally to you. And with the Emperor, I mean, we've got this divine masculine, healthy masculine leadership, somebody who's providing structure, order, you know, protecting your, like, I'm also picking up strongly on the integration of your inner divine feminine and inner divine masculine, which we talk a lot about on this channel, especially if you identify on the twin flame journey. That is the ultimate purpose of the twin flame journey, is to, you know, tame your ego and to reach union with yourself, which is your inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine. And even if you're not identifying as the twin flame journey, you very well may resonate with that path of inner divine feminine, inner divine masculine reconciliation, right? Integration, balance. And so I'm definitely picking up on a major part of the collective where the Emperor is representing your inner divine masculine, and he is providing the container for your inner divine feminine. And together they are in like perfect union and harmony and synergy. And whether this is requiring you to heal your inner divine masculine, maybe you have parts that are wounded, or whether this is you just prioritizing, or it could just be balancing. Maybe the inner divine masculine was overactive for many years, and now it just needs to be, you know, balanced with the feminine. Whatever it is that you are on the path of, you know, the divine masculine is taking accountability, taking responsibility, is ready to show up in an honorable way, in a healthy way, not in a controlling way. He is leading with integrity. He is emotionally mature, and he's committed. And this is the peace that we are restoring. This is the order that we are restoring. And so, I mean, again, this could be somebody external coming in. This could be the divine masculine counterpart that is healing and showing up. But it's not really about that. Like, this is very specific, but Spirit is saying, and I especially want to be cautious of how I deliver this message, because I know that the twin flame journey can be extremely triggering and test your ego constantly, and it can be full of, you know, unhealthy and disempowering attachments. And so if you're here seeking external guidance or, you know, tools for your healing on this journey, and, you know, the betrayal and hurt that you've endured, Spirit is saying, if the idea of reconciliating with your divine masculine counterpart, like an external person, romantic connection especially, If the idea of that is more exciting to you than the idea of you balancing your inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine, then that is a sign that you are still holding on to unhealthy external attachments. So I'm going to say that one more time. If you are more excited about reconciliating with an external romantic divine masculine than you are integrating your own internal divine feminine and masculine, then you are still holding on to unhealthy attachments as part of your karmic cycles. And this isn't to be a criticism or judgment. This is just the facts of where you're at on your journey. And so Spirit is encouraging you that if you are receiving this reading as a sign that you're going to reconnect with your divine masculine and everything's going to be great, if that's kind of like where your ego is taking you, and that's what's providing you with feelings of joy and excitement and, encouragement and anticipation for the future, then that's the karmic lesson that Pluto is coming in to shift for you. Because you're going to recognize the necessity of focusing inward, and you're actually going to become, I'm hearing, like, obsessed and addicted to your inner work. Like, it's going to be your main focus. Because when you do reconciliate with whatever external person that comes to your mind, if that's part of your path, you're going to be so fully integrated and so whole within yourself that you're going to feel peace. You're going to feel protection from yourself, from your own inner divine masculine, such that you're not expecting it or wishing for it from the actual external person. And that state of being, that energy state, is exactly what actually sustains connections, those external connections. So again, just a complete reiteration to focus inward. Even if you are in the middle of a reconciliation right now, and this very much is resonating with you in terms of an external person, always take it back inwards and, investigate in what ways your internal world can be balanced. And so let's move on to the Queen of Swords now. So this is about truth, logic, clarity. Sometimes this can be like constructive criticism. But it's also about emotional intelligence, the healed feminine who sees things clearly, and this is resonating with one or two readings ago where we had the air element as our astrology card. And we talked a lot about, being able to show up in the world with logic and truth and that rational mind when it's appropriate. Because again, as we balance our inner divine feminine and inner divine masculine, this is about being heart-led, but also allowing our mind to, guide us through the world, especially the masculine world we live in. I mean, the energy of the world is predominantly masculine. Specifically, it's wounded masculine, but, you can be the most powerful divine feminine, but you still have to show up in a balanced way, especially in a world that is leaning masculine. So the ability to use your mind and have emotional intelligence and, be able to seek and communicate truth, that is key, and I'm loving this balance of the Emperor and the Queen of Swords as kind of being like your inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine. And yeah, I'm just picking up on this energy of somebody who's showing up with integrity and able to communicate clearly what's on their heart. And I mean, the Queen of Swords is also about boundaries, discernment, because this is what's going to protect your heart and support your external connections. And just about the transparency and communication of your internal state. Being able to express that outwardly in a healthy way is a key part of a healthy divine feminine and a balance of both. And so this is powerful because if you're undergoing this reconciliation, you want truth to be at its core, right? Like you want to be aware of, I'm hearing, every inch of your internal world. So let's pull a few more cards here. We have the Nine of Cups. Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm feeling like if this is, okay, here's a little spiel about manifestation. If you are, especially if you're a twin flame who's been like through hell, wishing that you could be with this person, or even if you're not a twin flame and you've just endured that kind of grief and heartbreak and rejection and all of those egoic triggers and karmic lessons. If you are somebody who wants specific reconciliation with a person that you like innately know reconciliation is in your future, again, take it as it resonates. Allow your intuition to guide you here. The Nine of Cups showing up is about getting your wish fulfillment, right? So, and I have to be careful again of how I say this, because I'm not saying that like you can just make a person show up for you or reconcile with you or, be the person that you need after reconciliation, after you've done your inner work, because ultimately everybody has free will. And I can't just blanketly say to the collective that the person you wish to reconcile with is going to meet your dreams or make your dreams come true, right? But the wish card is such a beautiful card because, and I'm getting chills channeling into this is not just about the wish that you think you want or, the egoically driven desires. Because if you have a desire to reconnect with somebody external to you and it is egoically driven, then the reason and intention for wanting to reconcile with them is going to be, of course, ego-based. It's going to be about some kind of external validation that you want, something that's going to soothe your ego. It's not about reconciliation out of true alignment and truth, right? Like truth of your soul's paths being, aligned. And so the Nine of Cups is showing up here because it's like, you're not just going to get what you think you want. You're going to get what your soul wants and needs, right? So you may think that your wish fulfillment is reunion and reconciliation with this external person, this divine counterpart, this twin flame. But I'm hearing from many of the collective, Spirit is saying, this Nine of Cups is the wish fulfillment that you didn't know you needed. And that is the union with the inner divine feminine and inner divine masculine. And so if you are or have been skipping that part of your journey that is about you and your internal world and your internal divine feminine and masculine, then the wish fulfillment is going to be for that reunion, for the reconciliation of your internal world. And if that's not the message you want to hear, that's just because your ego is receiving it. Because the wish fulfillment card is all about emotional fulfillment, contentment, satisfaction. It's the true alignment between what you desire on a soul level and the reality that manifests for you. And it's the card that says, yes, finally, like this is what I wanted. So again, if you don't think that that's what you want at this time, you're going to learn through this wish fulfillment that it was what you wanted all along. And that we just have to pause and reflect on how beautiful that is. Like the journey back to self and the journey of loving yourself and feeling truly whole within yourself is so powerful. And this is what allows us to go through life with that emotional peace and inner comfort and the knowingness that this is right. This is the right path. And it's a knowingness on a soul level. It's heart-led, but it's supported by the mind. It's that beautiful balance of both. So let's see if there's anything else I can channel here. Okay, the Fool. Yep. Fresh start, clean slate, this kind of innocent, spontaneous love, a spontaneous leap, the courage to leap, and a really innately and deeply embedded trust and faith in the universe and in the divine timing. A full harboring of potential. To never return back to the old cycle, but to have a fresh new beginning. And that energy of openness and hopefulness. So if this is a reconciliation, I mean, this is like somebody meeting you at your frequency and completely restarting, not just repeating old patterns, but restarting, rebuilding a complete new chapter. And, to bring it back to Pluto, I mean, this is a soul level and heart-led rebirth between either two people, you and another, or between your inner aspects. And the only thing that's going to survive is that which calls you to your soul's purpose, not the egoic, toxic patterns and thoughts and habits and beliefs. And so just as a final reiteration, if this is an external reconciliation, remember to have that lighthearted embodiment and inner confidence, inner knowingness, inner fullness, inner wholeness, so that this can play out on the highest timeline in the new way, which is where they will step up with integrity in ways that they hadn't before, perhaps, with the emperor. And you, if you're the divine feminine, are going to be able to respond with clarity and discernment and self-respect, all rooted in truth and heart-based truth. And that union is what allows this beautiful emotional bond through the Three of Cups and the Nine of Cups, and the leaping to a new energetic timeline with the Fool. And if this is internal, I mean, this is your compatible joining of the Emperor and the Queen of Swords, the masculine and the feminine, and the fulfilling outcome of knowing that you've learned to accept yourself. You've come back home to yourself. You've come full circle. You've completed the karmic cycles. And now all that's left to do is completely know and love and nurture yourself. I'm also hearing your inner child. And that's especially with the Fool. And I'm just seeing 11:11 on the clock. The Fool is that inner child that is ready to start new. So you being able to nurture and foster that radiance, through the protection of the Emperor and through the intellect and maturity of the Queen of Swords. So I'm going to leave the reading here. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you got something valuable out of this reading. I will be back tomorrow with day 11, and I will see you then. Bye.